Evening. How's everyone doing this evening? So, I think the next video is going to be on bad behaviours in store. Because I think a lot of this is rooted in general things that people feel about themselves. Of which I am actually guilty of some. Okay? So, I really don't like it when people normally come on these things and they give lots of really cool explanations about behaviours and how some of them are bad and some of them are good. And they never give their own examples. They never give any negative examples about themselves. They don't tend to be positive ones, which I find ridiculous. So, one of the more fun-loving aspects of the hobby that I wanted to get into is quote-unquote snobbery about people's painting skills, about people's gaming skills, about some of the armies that people play and things like that. One of the things I wanted to get into is a specific story from the store that I worked at when I was at GW, but I'll get into that in a second. What I wanted to go into, though, was the damaging effect it can have on the hobby. So, snobbery in all of its forms. Some people call it gatekeeping. I don't call it gatekeeping. I don't think holding people to a standard of behaviour or skill level in a hobby is gatekeeping. I think gatekeeping is when you are literally keeping people out of a hobby that they want to be involved in. Now, I don't agree that gatekeeping is what people say it is, and that there's these evil middle-aged white men who are keeping everyone else away from Warhammer 40,000 or Age of Sigmar. That's not what it is. Gatekeeping is perfectly sound for a hobby, right? What I mean by that is, gatekeeping exists, but it doesn't exist in the way that people think it does. That's what I mean. That's when I say gatekeeping's not a thing. When you hear the phrase gatekeeping, it doesn't exist. Not in my view, anyway. It doesn't exist. Holding people to a standard in a hobby of behaviour, right, is perfectly fine, as far as I'm concerned. If you don't like the way that people do things in Warhammer 40,000, then go make your own Warhammer 40,000 club and try and change it from the inside. But don't break people who are currently enjoying it, is what I'm saying. Now, I want to get that out the way, because some of the behaviours I'm going to talk about, I'm not a big fan of. And it can be misconstrued that I don't like these behaviours. Look, I may not like the behaviours, but I'm fully in support of some gatekeeping behaviours. Okay? One of them is, we don't want politics here. That is one of the things that I do in my own Discord, right? I don't want politics in my Discord. I don't want politics in my hobby store. I don't particularly want politics in my games. I completely disagree with the notion that everything is politics, that politics is in everything. I completely disagree. No, it's not. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. The way to put politics in your media is to do it without people even realizing, right? Because I'm telling you now, there's politics in the original Star Wars. There are politics in the original Star Wars film. There are politics. There are underlying currents of politics in there. But you have to really sift through and think about it to pull those out, right? You really do. Beyond the ridiculous, oh, here is the Death Star and all that, and here is this big evil empire. Beyond all that, there is politics in there. You've just got to dig really deep to get to it, right? Game of Thrones, at least season 1, there are politics in there. You have to pick the rock up though and look underneath to see the politics, right? Things don't have to be political, is what I'm saying, right? And things do not need to be. Gatekeeping is perfectly fine. If a hobby center or a hobby place that you're in is healthy, right? Completely fine to keep it just the way that it is, right? It's your thing, go for it, right? So, saying that, snobbery in the hobby when it comes to paint jobs. So, at Games Workshop, I think I've told this story before, but it's gonna bring me into another story. So, once I had I came in from my holiday break, and I had a parent come in, rather irate, a dad, and said, "Your manager, as in the person who runs this store, told my child that their models were substandard, that they weren't of standard to go in the cabinet of this hobby store." Now, how would you deal with that? Because if I want to be horrible about this, the manager is right. Okay, this kid's models weren't good enough to go in at the top of the, at the top of the cabinet, right? Now, this is what I mean by gatekeeping. Gatekeeping is two different things. Let me just examine this story for a minute. Gatekeeping is two different things. On one hand, the manager's right. Yeah, your models aren't good enough yet to go into that cabinet, to be shown to the general public as an example of how cool the models are in our store, right? That's one form of gatekeeping, the negative kind of gatekeeping. A positive kind of gatekeeping would be to say, no, the top shelf on that model store, the one that's at eye level, we know that's for advertisement. That's to get the best of the best of the best models that are painted in our store in there. But why don't we do another one lower down, where the kids' models all are, right? And we'll even have ages on there. Dave, age 6. Tom, age 9, right? Whack them in there. I did that in my store. I had my own shelf lower down, and it had all of the kids who would come in. Everybody would paint their first. It doesn't matter who you were. I didn't care if you were a veteran or whatever. If you came into my store and I'd never seen you before, I gave you a Space Marine to paint from scratch. I'd say, what colour do you want undercoated? Right, bang, undercoat it, there you go. I want to see how you paint. Right? And if that person was under 14, their model, their Space Marine, would go with their name in the cabinet. On the lowest rung, on one of the low rungs, right? But it's still in the cabinet, right? Not their second name. We don't want people getting traced. Be name, age, that's it, right? In there, right? And even that I was a bit iffy on. And the management did say to me, like, take that out, because, like, we don't want people knowing there's kids here. We have windows, dickhead. They look in, okay? Anyway. So, moving away from there. Those are two different forms of gatekeeping, aren't they? We have one form of gatekeeping where somebody says, your models are shit, and they don't deserve to be in my cabinet. And then we have another form of gatekeeping, which says, well, hey, hang on. They're not there yet, no, but I want them in the cabinet because I appreciate your effort. Welcome to the hobby. There you go. In they go, right? So, that's what I mean when I term gatekeeping and snobbery in terms of painting. Alright? That's what I mean. There's two different forms of attitudes that need to be looked at when we're looking at Games Workshop and the hobby in general, and people being really snobbish about how they paint and how they go about things. Right? No. So, second thing I want to talk about, and this is a comment that came up before in one of my videos, and that is playing with grey plastic models. Now, unfortunately, people who play with models that are not painted do not have the best reputation. Most of them that go into hobby stores that I have seen tend to play in a very gamey way. They tend to treat Warhammer like it's a video game that they're trying to min-max. These are the people who would come in with 2 or 3 Skyhammer formations when 7th edition was around, and would generally blow people off the table, right? They wouldn't put any effort into their models whatsoever. In fact, some of them would just go out and buy them off eBay and immediately play them on the tabletop without even touching them themselves, right? So, those people tend to have rather a negative connotation to them, right? Whenever I see models aren't painted on the tabletop, I get alarmed. I immediately get like, well, why haven't you painted any of the models, right? You know, to me, this hobby is about painting and modelling and then playing. Build, paint, play. You know, that's it's kind of right there at the top of every single introduction sheet you get when you come into the hobby. Build, paint, play. It's there. So you're literally not doing 2 of the 3 things. And that irks me a little bit. And I'm like, well, you know, I was asked the question of, is it bad to plainly refuse to play people who don't paint their armies? And the answer is no. That's not a bad thing, because there are there are 2 different forms of gatekeeping, right? The first one is just going up to somebody and saying, "I'm not playing you. Your models aren't painted," and leaving it there, leaving a bad taste in somebody's mouth, or letting them think that they're not good enough to be in the hobby because they don't want to paint, right? That's the wrong way of going about it. The best way of going about it is to explain why. Is to say, hey, no, I get to know that person, right? Are you a gamer, or have you just bought these models, built them, and you're so desperate to play that you want to play a game, and you're going to undercoat them soon, you're going to paint them? Then I'll play you, no problem, right? It's all about the experience of getting to know people. So going into a hobby store and some of these models aren't painted and then refusing to pay them, I would look at that as a bit of a dickish move. Especially not when you haven't gotten to know them yet. If you know them by reputation, that they are, pretty gamey, and you're not going to have a good time, there's nothing wrong with saying, look, dude, like I've got other games that I want to play. I'm a bit busy at the moment. Make your excuses. But I wouldn't say I'm not playing you because your models are not painted, right? That just gives off the wrong message. It gives off the same message as my manager did when he said your models aren't good enough to go in the cabinet, right? It gives that same message, which is what I mean when I said gatekeeping isn't a thing. Well, what I meant by that is gatekeeping in the way that other people say it is happening in Warhammer 40,000. No, I don't believe it's a thing, right? I don't believe the vast majority of people who play Warhammer gatekeep in a way where they say your models aren't painted and I'm not playing you. No one says that. No one says that, right? The very reason why that parent came in so irate is because that behaviour was beyond the pale. And most of the people in this hobby completely get that. Not all of them, of course, but most of them do. They completely get that mindset of, your models aren't good enough to go in there yet. No, but they will be. Carry on painting, they will be. They definitely will be. And when they are, I can't wait to play you. I cannot wait to get on the tabletop and play you when your army's all done and painted, right? Those are two different styles, right? I believe gatekeeping exists, but I believe in Warhammer 40,000 and in Age of Sigmar, we have gatekeeping in the second mode, right? We have gatekeeping in the. It's not good enough to go in there yet, but you do get your own rung where we can show off your first models and how well you did as a painter. And hey, dude, I realise that you haven't painted anything yet, but I'm going to get to know you and see if we're going to gel on the tabletop. Because at the end of the day, it's 3 to 4 hours of my time that I don't want to waste. So how about we just talk about the hobby? We talk shit for 5 minutes before we get down and start playing, right? Things like that, right? That's the healthy side of the hobby. The healthy side of the hobby, where gatekeeping, as people say it is in the world, when people say to you, oh, they just gatekeep all the time, horrible people, right? What they mean by that is the first example. Your models aren't good enough to go in the cabinet. That's what they mean. What I mean is, gatekeeping is in, I'm demanding certain levels of behaviour in my hobby, right? You need to be respectful of other people. You need to not try and rock the boat. Like, don't change things. It's not your hobby to change. I'm sorry. It's a hobby for a reason. It's our hobby. Everybody's, right? We don't have to conform to what you think. We don't have to conform to your sensibilities. You walked into this space. Feel free to take yourself the fuck out of it again if you don't like it, right? Right? Those are my two forms of gatekeeping. Everybody gets respect and abide by what the hobby actually is, what the lore is, what the setting is. And I look at somebody coming into a niche hobby with their own forms of prejudices and their own wants and needs and wanting to change the hobby to their own ends as somebody calling up J.R.R. Tolkien and saying, excuse me, no, eagles don't fly, that's ridiculous, please take it out. As in, eagles can't carry people when they fly, take it out. It's like, I'm sorry, no. You mentally signed that agreement, that suspension of disbelief. That's it. As soon as you walk into a hobby like Warhammer, Warhammer 40,000, or Age of Sigmar, you're mentally signing that contract of, this is their hobby, and I want it to be my hobby. So I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to enjoy it, right? There's nothing wrong with healthy gatekeeping. I don't think it exists too much in the hobby from the first perspective. I don't think the vast majority of people are saying your models aren't good enough. I reject the notion that most people are saying you're not white, you shouldn't be here. I reject the notion that most people are saying you're female, so you shouldn't be here. In fact, probably from a bad point of view, in terms of sex, the people want females in the hobby, like I do, right? We need more females in the hobby. So I categorically don't think there's gatekeeping in the strictest sense of the word. I don't think that there are people saying icky girls get out. I don't think there are people saying things like that. Pervy, yes, there's that goes on, but that goes on in every walk of life, not just in a hobby, right? What I do think there is people holding people to a certain standard of behaviour. And that's how I feel about Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar and the Old World. Is that there are certain standards of behaviour that you need to abide by whilst you're here. Right? Sip of tea time. So those are my views on gatekeeping. Okay. I have many stories of people during tournaments and during game nights where they will pick up somebody else's models and they will look down their noses at the model and they will scoff and put it back down again and not have a very good reception to that model at all. And it always stabbed me in the heart. Whenever I saw this happening, I'd try and make a point of going over there and asking that person's and the person whose models was derided for a game of Warhammer 40,000. There was one person who came into my store who was an Emperor's Children player, big Berserk fan, so obviously big Griffith fan, which is why he liked Emperor's Children. And of course, like his models are painted very garishly, and the standard of painting wasn't great, right? It was one single coat of paint. It wasn't watered down very well. There were one or two colours on the model, right? So we also had one of our gamers called Simon, and Simon picked up. He was a Space Wolf player, and he picked up one of these Emperor's Children models, and said, "Yes, I see you haven't done the eyes, or the blades, or the tabards, or much of a base, really. Yeah." And he put it back down again, and literally just walked off. Right? Just a bit of feedback. It was the way it was said, and I saw this guy just crumple and go, yeah, maybe they're not that great. Maybe they're not that great, you know. Maybe. He didn't start packing things up, but he moved away from his own army. It was really strange. Like he had his army box out, his Citadel case, which costs a lot. And he opened it up, and somebody said, Simon said, "Oh, can I see that model?" Yeah, sure. So he gave him his model. He did ask before he touched it, and they gave him that feedback, and then put it back in the case and walked off, right? Now, Simon, I need to say, is an old school player. This is somebody who was from first edition, second edition, so someone who I believe should know better, right? Should know better than to say things like that to somebody. And this guy, this Emperor's Children guy, the only reason I'm not saying his name or even giving him a name, because I just... Emperor's Children are a bit of a rare army to play in a store, so, people who know me know who this person might be, and I don't really want to go into any sort of context like that. So he literally walked away from his hobby case and left it there on the side of the table, almost like he was trying to create distance between himself and his army. And after I let it calm down after like an hour or two, but I made a mental note, and in the end, one of my staffers went over there. One of my support staff went over there. Now, this guy is a guy that I told you about a while ago who was very into, shall we say, Third Reich ideology. Not ideology, iconography. Not ideology, iconography. So, he was very into, iron crosses and... But in that context, by the way, before anyone says, well, technically, iron crosses... I know. I'm a historian, right? I know where iron crosses came from. But he liked them in that context. He liked them on Nazi uniforms. He liked them on trench coats. He liked them on Nazi uniforms. Get over it, right? It's just what he liked. It's an aesthetic that he liked. Anyway, he walked over to this guy's Emperor's Children, and he said, "All right, mate, whose is this?" And the guy went, "Oh, it's mine." Like he was going to ask him to get him from the table. He picked up the guy's warlord. This is pretty cool warlord. And he said, "This is really cool. I really love what you did on the sword here. It's really good texture work. Really, really cool." I said, "Oh yeah, cheers, dude. Yeah." He said, "Did you do green stuff for the flames? That's really epic." I said, "Yeah. Dean taught me over there. He said, "Yeah. He does that with all of his models, and I do that with all of my models. I am not, I'm not ashamed of that. I just think it looks cool." So yeah. All these purple flames on his sword and all that. Yeah, he was like, yeah. I just thought it looked really cool. He goes, "Oh, mate." And this guy went, the staffer went, "Can I play a game with you with this model? Do you mind using it so I can get a few photographs?" I was like, yeah, sure. So we cleared one of the tables off and they had a game. 2,000 point game. And, my staffer took loads of photographs and we put them on the store Facebook page. Of course, I I was signing my own death warrant, really, because you're not supposed to post many pictures of games being played in the store. That's not what the space is about, apparently. But, you know, we posted them anyway, because fuck it. You know, it was my last couple of months as a manager. I didn't give a shit at that point. But those are the two forms of quote-unquote gatekeeping that are in the hobby. Because as the game was going on, the staffer would say things like, hey, do you know what you could do with that model? What? How about you dry brush some Xerius purple over the dark purple, and then dab it down with some Druchii violet, mixed with a bit of Norn oil? That would really give it this really dark, night-like texture that you said you wanted. Oh, hey, do you mind writing that down for me? Yeah, sure, man, sure. And he'd write down the recipes for him, blah, blah, blah. And the army got better over time, over the next few months before I left. It got much better, right? Those are the two sides of gatekeeping. It's all about tact, essentially. If we're talking about quality of models, it's about tact. Saying you don't want to play somebody because, like, overtly, because the models either aren't good enough or they aren't painted is the wrong way to go about it, right? Giving them your reasons for why you don't want to game with them because the models aren't painted properly or things like that, that's completely fine. But there needs to be, if we want to gatekeep the hobby properly, there needs to be some sort of positive reinforcement. There needs to be some sort of, hey man, maybe not right now, but Jesus Christ, you carry on with those models, definitely, they're going to look really, really cool. Or just, if the person is really cool, swallow your pride and just play them. You know? The hobby sometimes is more important than our own desires and our own wants and our own needs when it comes to, you know, what we want to do and why we want to play. The other thing I wanted to go into, now moving on from gatekeeping, I wanted to go into behaviours at the table. Now, I will go into these a lot more in the coming weeks, because I've got a few videos that I wanted to do about tabletop behaviour. But I want to go into one today that I'm actually guilty of. I have what my therapist defined as sometimes, not all the time, he calls it the double-edged sword. On one side, I have a victim complex. I think things go against me a lot, and I constantly think that things go against me a lot, right? But on the other side, I have a deep self-loathing, right? So he said normally, you know, when you have a victim complexes, it's rooted in narcissism, right? But there are people where it's not rooted in narcissism. It's rooted in self-hatred, which is what you have, right? You self-loathe. You do not like who you are as a person, and you can't accept love from anywhere. You can't accept praise or compliments, things like that from anywhere, because you distrust it. You think, oh, that's not me, ooh, right? And do you know where I think about when he says things like that to me? It's playing Warhammer, and I can see my development as a person. When things don't go for me in Warhammer these days, I start laughing, genuinely, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, you know, and I laugh, and because I know it'll come round again. It's just how things go, right? It'll come round again, and most of the games I end up winning. You know, I'm just like, you know, I end up winning in the end. But I have a laugh with it. But in the past, before therapy, like, you know, I mean, in store, I would never do this because, like, I would get sacked, you know. But, like, if I was in any other place, it would ruin my day. Like, if I got beat at Warhammer, it would just ruin my day. Or I'd think, oh my god, it would happen that way, wouldn't it? Oh my god, you know, I would roll that one then, wouldn't I? God, you know. And I'd get really negative, and I'd just think that the whole world was against me. And every now and again, I'll have a tick when it happens again. When I'm doing anything. I could be doing anything. I could be making beans on toast. I could be, you know, taking something upstairs and one of the top things falls off. And I think, oh, it would be for me, wouldn't it? Would happen to me again. These little tiny things. But Warhammer really did a really good job of shining a light on that and bringing that out of me. And I've noticed a lot of people do that in the hobby too. It's the one behaviour I wanted to address. If you see yourself doing that, stop. Stop. It's not just happening to you. It's happening to everybody. Everybody's getting this shit. Look, even if it doesn't seem it, right? Everybody's getting it at some stage. Okay? And no one likes hearing it. No one likes hearing it. It's going to happen to everybody at some stage. I promise you that. I promise you that. And I am becoming a firm believer of what you put into the universe, you get out of it. And if you are at the hobby table, the amount of times where I have been suffering badly, a bad loss, and I've just laughed and carried on, and I've ended up winning, I literally can't count anymore, right? Nearly every win I get, I'm trounced within 2 turns, end up winning the game. You know, it's an incredible game that does to do that. It swings and roundabouts. So I think Warhammer's a really good tool to find out where you are on that scale. And if you're doing that in a hobby store, or you're seeing that in a hobby store, just realise what it is. If somebody does it to you, realise what that is. What their behaviour is more about them than it is about you, right? In fact, it's all about them than it is about you most of the time. So, just shared something about myself, as I always like to do in these videos. And what do you guys think about gatekeeping in the hobby? Do you think like me, where there's 2 different forms of gatekeeping? Right, just to close off my thoughts, I think there is a false gatekeeping. I think there's a true gatekeeping. I think false gatekeeping is what people like to throw at niche hobbies like Warhammer, where a lot of white middle-aged men are involved, where they say they're keeping everyone else out, meh, right? And where I think that's false. I think the right gatekeeping, and I think also false is that it's full of people who are, you know, your models aren't good enough. It's full of people like that. Okay, that's false. It isn't, right? I think the good gatekeeping, and the gatekeeping that is involved in Warhammer 40,000, is that we don't tend to take too much bullshit. Do not come into our hobby and start trying to change it to suit your own whims. It's not your hobby, right? Do not come into our hobby expecting certain kinds of behaviours without reading the fine print, right? Because it's not your hobby. Okay? Expect excellence in the hobby, but encourage it as well. That's what gatekeeping is for me. What do you guys think gatekeeping is? Have you had any tales about gatekeeping in the hobby, or any hobby that you would like to share? Put them in the comments down below. Do you think I'm completely full of bullshit? Do you disagree with me? Put that down in the comments below as well. As far as I'm concerned, that's been me for today, and that is me for the year. Tomorrow I will be drinking from around 5 PM, and normally I like to record these videos in the evening, so I probably won't be on tomorrow. I may record one thing, but if I don't get to record it, thank you so much for all that you've done for me this year. You guys, I know if you've stuck to the end of the video that you are exactly who I'm supposed to be talking to right now. I'd like to send a special shout out to Shannon Buys, who gave me a lovely, lovely message on Patreon, and I'm very glad I'm doing that for you, dude. Have a wonderful, wonderful new year. Everyone on my YouTube Discord, you know, thank you for being there. In fact, at the end of this video, I'm going to call out every single person on that Discord. So, all right. Oh my God, this is going to take a while. Feel free to click off the video. There are 101 names here that I would like to thank before I go anywhere. Okay, so Anxious Water Lizard, thank you. Arms Mash, thank you very, very, very much. Aubrey, thank you very, very much. Auce, thank you very, very much. Bad Mango, cheers, dude. Bad Witch Project, thank you very much. Beyond D, thank you very much. Bing Bong, thank you very much. Birdsong 1, thank you. Black Mage, who is currently playing Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, good game, thank you very much. Black Eye, listening Spotify, thank you very much. Bluebeard 41, thank you. Bokatia, playing 7 Days to Die. I need to get back into that, actually. Thank you very, very much. Booker, thank you very, very much. BSB, XXHBXX, thank you. Bubble Bill, you're here on a limited basis. Well, I hope you stick around for quite a while, Bubble O. It'd be nice to see you. Camwad123, enjoying the time I have. I hope that's not a really weird message about your health there, dude. Hope you're alright. But apart from that, thank you very much. Cassio, thank you very, very, very much. I think you actually sent me a message, did you not? I will get back to that in a second. Right, where were we? Chimp CEO, thank you very, very much. Chris Skeleton Official, thank you. Clyde Frog, thank you very much. Conspiracy Marine, thank you very much, playing Iron Harvest. Good lad. Conspiracy Marine, if you like Iron Harvest, go and buy Scythe, the board game. One of my friends is a writer on that game, and he would very much appreciate it if you only got that game. Crab Dealer, thank you very, very much. Daddy Tubbs, thank you very much. Dagoth, thank you for not blowing up Morrowind, and thank you very much for supporting the channel. Dave Pillow, thank you very much. Dan Durr, thank you as well. Danny Boy, thank you. Davey Bohoy, thank you very much. I know we've exchanged some messages, so thank you very much for your continued support and good messages. Decade Andy, thank you very much. Della Chill. Do you know what? Della Chill's playing Hunt Showdown. Good game. One of my games of the year when it came out. I'm going to go through these games, these names now, and just say thank you very much at the end. So Decius, Detective Horse, DLC, Dragon Kid. We have also exchanged some nice messages. Thank you very much, Dragon Kid. Duba, Elven Kitten, Fidelis. Is Elven Kitten a female? Because that'll be one of the only 0.01 point females we got on the channel. Gifted Steak, Gilgamesh, hopefully the Gilgamesh, Ginger Jesus, Geo, Grim, Guru Ok, Haggis Shoe, Havel the Rock, Custodians is everything. Okay, cool. Hive Mind Miniatures, thank you very much, man. Your support has been fantastic throughout this year, so thank you very, very much. Herefjord, playing Blender, cool. Hypergona 69, Iron the Pupper Walrus, J Wedge, Josh Winters, a few nice messages from him, thank you very much. Night Haunter, Lazarus, a few nice messages from you as well, I think. Liliok, Lamperouge, playing Dragon Age Inquisition. Well, I hope I had some sort of input on that one. Local Average Painter, thank you very much. Loken, thank you very much. Lord Fungrim, thank you very much. Lord Main, thank you. Lord Master of Sotek, yes. Thank you very much for your support this year, dude. Thank you for your messages. I will get back on to you about the video we're going to do pretty soon. Mad Ben, thank you very much. Marcel Gotan, thank you very much. Master Stew, Meandering Shade, Mineral, Minty Mintness, Mr. Mayhem 94, Necomata, Nicky Milland, Ogelin, Ollie, Oreo Blizzard Lover, Psycho Pudding, Private Hudson, Raji Rob, Revelo, playing Conqueror's Blade. You need to let me know what that's like, dude. Is it any good? RNG Guy, Shbubby, or S-Bubby, Secundo, Sergi Cat, Skyboss 666, Smegly. Again, all these people, most of you I've exchanged pleasantries with. If I have, I hope you have a wonderful new year. Spartan, Steppers, Sterner Gang, Tacius, Templar. I've exchanged a lot of messages with you, dude. Have a wonderful new year. The Mighty Flip. This is Rooms. I've also exchanged messages with you. Have a very good new year. Todd, Tommen, hopefully not the Dead King Tommen. Tuppy, playing Armour 3. Hope you enjoy it. Vault Boy, but shorter. Vita, exchanged a lot of messages with you. Have a wonderful new year. Void Walker, Vorak, Woody, Woodbody Greenman, and Singvalar Boy. We also have a lot of people who are offline as well. So, you're going to have to stick with me through that whilst I get into it. So, these people will be in no particular order. Well, they'll be in alphabetical order, but I'm going to be racing through them. Five Header, Farkas G, Adam Dodge, Algaras, Alex, Meme Finder General, Amar, Anticlimacus, Ark Royal, exchanged a few messages with you. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. Artemis Frost, AZ19999999, B Rizzle, Ben UWU, Biggs, Biowolves, Blobby Derb. Where do these people get these names from? Blue Smart, Bo, Brass Viking, Brother Oddball, Bubble O Bill, Caius, Mucius Skyvola, Kaja, thank you very much, Kaja. There's one of my Prime tier subscribers there who supports the channel in a lot of great ways, so thank you, Kaja, for everything. Karjik, CC, Chaplin Dasago, Chapter Grim, Chick High, Crispy Bacon 89, Christian B, Sun Notonin, Clockwork Menace, nice to see you, Clockwork, hopefully you stick around for a lot longer. Coin Rattler, Commander Harrison, Captain Grafton, Crafty Badger, Crowley, Cursif Jones, Daddy Gramble, Daddy Eccles, hopefully Eccles Cakes, Dante Chaos, we've exchanged a few nice messages, thank you very much for your support. Darcy, Dark Roxas 95, Dave Nihilus, we've been talking a lot these past couple of days, so happy New Year, Dave. Davy Jones, Dazor, Death Proof, Dixon and Mickey, Draconis, we've also exchanged messages, have a lovely New Year. Dramatic Dodo, Eidolon is sus, who's Drovis by a different name. Elador, Euphonixia, Ever, Farkas, hopefully from Skyrim, Feloni Chargers, Forge Painter, Foxlight 713, Freelancer, Fryer76, Gamer, Giant Dad, we've exchanged some messages, hopefully have a lovely New Year. Gingerus Maximus, oops, my thing has gone, Gingerus Maximus, Giraffe, Goblin Warboss, we've also exchanged some messages, nice to see you. Goldbug, Green, Grid, Gridash, loads of messages there, and I think you are a moderator as well. So thank you very, very much, but I'll get to all moderators in a minute. Grimmick, Dark, Gruski, Gunther, Hammond, Hartix, Harv Swan, Hayden, HB, Halexia, Hronky McGee, Hopskis, Ice, James with a 4. Jam Slam, we have exchanged some messages. What a lovely person. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. JMU90, Jeremy 12, Jester 1993, Jim Jitsu, we have exchanged some messages, I think. Jimmy Lad 89, J Jaxie, JK Grunt, we have also exchanged some messages. Thank you very much for your support this year. John Gard, John Bayer, KF 131, Kiara 5000, Kiro the Avenger, we have also exchanged messages. Lovely to see you. Kmart Waffles, Col, Kriegy Boy. You also have a picture of Count Dankula as your thumbnail, so well done on that one. Eye Cutting 87, Lo-Fi Doom Guy, love it. Local Average Painter, yeah, we've been involved with some messages. I will get back to you in a few minutes on that one. Lord Nathan, Lord of Darkness, you have also just messaged me, so I will get to you in a second, Lord of Darkness, but Happy New Year. Lord Ethan, Loska Ilta, Lost Man, Mac Monkey, we have exchanged messages, so thank you very much. Madcom, Martin Weller, Master of Plans, we have exchanged messages. Lovely, hope you have a lovely New Year. Military Sticks, Morgan Hufflebutt, Mr. Moody Minis, Mr. Krabs, Mr. Byrne, 2, Mr. Marriott, Mr. Young, there's a lot of misters here. Nazelnilk, Nurgling, we have also exchanged a few messages. Nurgling actually has a really good YouTube channel, so go check that out whenever you can. New Guardian, Nex, Nicolor, Nix, Non-Sane, myself, Not a Doggo, Nuclear Dragon, Odin, Pino, Polytechnic, Porcelain Don, Procrastinating Painter. I'll get back to you on plans, procrastinating, but lovely to hear from you, and I hope you have a really good New Year. Psycho Pudding, Private Hudson, again he's gone off 9, so you got double shout outs, cheating. Rag and Bone, Ratatoingo, Ravenous, Rick, those are 2 separate names. Rob Saxon, Ronnie 1992, RT Marine, Salvi, Sam Pinkness, Scotty V Britannia, SGO, Schmello, Yee, Silverhand, hopefully Johnny, Simon, Sinko, Sir Oasis, one of our stalwart modders, somebody holding together the Discord with what it seems like duct tape and chewing gum at times, but he's doing a tremendous job, free of charge. What a legend. Scania, Skeletal Commissar, Slippy, Solo, whatever that says, Sotolicious, Southern Outcast, Space Rider. Hey, I'm Northern Exile, you're Southern Outcast. Space Rider, Spartan 06, Stackerman, Steady, who you may have seen in a few videos. Steer, we've exchanged a few messages, thank you very much, dude. Storm Dagger, we've exchanged some messages, thank you very much, dude. Sunhill999, Softy, Tarinaki, Tech Priest McMahon, the Flying Yorkshireman, we've exchanged some messages, thank you very much for your support, dude. The Vasectomizer, the Hob, the Soul Catcher, the Atlas, the Dino Shepherd, the Kiwinator, we've exchanged some messages, hope you have a good New Year. Theoman222, the Raging Modeler, TJ Roe, Toasty Pete XL, Tony Boulders, Tree Man. We've exchanged some messages. Thank you very much. Have a good new year. Trelf Tron. We've exchanged some messages. Have a good new year. Uncle Jisley. Vibri Bib. Victor Manuel Garza. We've exchanged some messages. Have a wonderful new year. Warstriker 857. Wispy Trooper was, and I think it's Koliak Thunder. I think so, Koliak Thunder. Alrighty. And also a very special mention to the moderators. So, Scython UTC, thank you very much for doing all that you're doing for the channel. You know, we couldn't do it without you. Adam Dodge, thank you very much for what you're doing for the channel. Again, we couldn't do it without you. Gridash, again, thank you very, very much. Could not do it without you, dude. Sir Oasis, we've already covered. The legend that is Sir Oasis. Viorp as well, who covers Thunderdome for us, which is a part of our chat, which has all of the wretched hive of scum and villainy. He is the wrangler of that part of our Discord. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Viorp, for being a part of the channel for as long as you have been, and for also being a part of Blackcoats, which is getting to be a real success, and we have some really. Hopefully, we will have a really exciting future with Blackcoats too, moving forwards. So, who else? Oh yeah, people from Blackcoats. So, Antonius, Matt, as you know, Blackcoat Dennis, thank you very much for being involved in Blackcoats. Sangon the Brute, which it was David, thank you very, very much for being involved in Blackcoats as well. And thank you, if you're a part of the channel and you are not currently on my my Discord, get on there. Let's have a talk. Alright, let's talk about things, let's talk about shit. If I have not called you out, then feel free to get onto the Discord and let me know, because that is not cool. It's been much longer than usual, mainly because I've been calling up people's names, I'm going to be quite honest, but thank you very, very, very much for everything you guys have done this year. You really have dug me out of a hole at times that I've been feeling has been really, really trying to suck me down deep. And I really feel now I can go at 2022 running with this channel, with you all behind me. We've got 4,000 subscribers at the moment. Let's try for 10,000 next year. Why the fuck not? Let's go for it. Let's see what we can do. Because this isn't just for me. I'd love to be in a position where I'm in a position where I can pump money into the channel and get people to Warhammer World and different places like that where we can have some real fun. On New Year's Day, I'm going to be going over a few plans for the channel, maybe even the 2nd of January, but we're going over a few plans for the channel in 2022. Until then, please be very safe over the break. Please be very safe over New Year's. I don't want to hear any horror stories. Please be alright. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will speak to you in the new year, if not before then. See you then, guys. Have a good one.